everybody, it's ChristopherNotWalken. Welcome to the Dirty Nerdy Show, and today we have a very, very, very special guest. And I'm not even going to try to say his name because you guys know I would butcher it, but Tirar's here, you guys.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
How you doing, sir?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So,
how you doing?
I'm great, and it is such an honor to have you on the show. You, sir, are one of my favorite people, and I mean this, one of my favorite people ever. But yeah, how'd you get into this ASMR thing? Because you've been around for a minute.
Believe it or not, I was tampering with ASMR even as far back as 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I had a channel that I was doing semi-ASMR work, like kind of doing it.
Yeah.
I never even told anybody about. And then I had my main channel was Couch Potato Theater, and I did ASMR type videos once in a while, and I would title them ASMR. But I never really thought about doing it as an artist until I think 2013 or 2014. That's when I started doing them exclusively on TirarADeguello.
Yeah.
So, and that's when I started.
What made you want to take the plunge of doing exclusive ASMR content?
I had a good friend, Lauren Ostrowski-Fenton. She's
I love her.
Well, I'm real good friends with her, so if you want to talk to her, I can send her a message. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
Oh, absolutely. I've listened to her videos for a very long time.
Oh, she is... There's a woman with a lot of heart and a lot of courage. Stay on target. She started doing ASMR and was having trouble getting noticed because when she started, ASMR wasn't a thing. It wasn't a byword, for the communities.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what the hell she was doing. She was doing relaxation whisper videos and nobody gave a shit. So basically, I said, well, there's this ASMR Reddit, and I remember pointing it out to her, and there's different Facebook groups for ASMR. And I helped her get started, and I said, what the hell? I should get involved in this because I really like it. I love ASMR. I experience it. I know what it's like. My whole life I've experienced it. And finally, there's a group that knows what I'm talking about. Because I was like the oddball in my family that was the only guy that got ASMR. Nobody else received it but me. So it was an opportunity for me to finally express myself. So I kind of followed Lauren into ASMR. So that's how I got started.
Yeah. She's so cool, and to just touch on it really quick,
yeah.
From what you've just told me, I have even more respect for her.
She is tremendous. I can't say enough about her, and she's an author too. She's written some books, and
nice.
Her book is incredible. I own the book. I bought the book and read it. It's incredible self-help. So.
I would love to get her on the show sometime, but today
I'll talk to her.
But today we have to talk about the amazing content that you put out, because you put out some amazing stuff. You put out some things that are kind of like feature length.
Yeah.
Like where does all of this come from? Like, where do you get your ideas?
Now, some of my ideas are borrowed from old horror movies and sci-fi ideas, and I like to twist things. Like I did a 4-video series of creatures that imitated life, and it was started with the Iron Man. You can't remember it, can you?
I can't.
Not Temujin. It's a Japanese name. But anyway, I did the Iron Man. I did the Thing. Mountains of Madness, and then I did Akira. Basically, things that imitate life. So I did a 4-video series of that, and I was very proud of that. I did a Rapture series. There was a 7-video series where an alien tries to give the impression that somebody comes down from heaven and is Jesus' second coming. It fools everybody. That was a cool series I did. So yeah, there's some cinematic videos that I've done.
You ever thought of making like a legit movie and taking it to studios, because I think, and I honestly mean this, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass at all. Like, I think if there was like an ASMR movie, I think you're the guy to do it.
I actually have a couple movie ideas that I've thought about doing, and I just haven't got to do a movie. You really need help. You need at least two or three people. This is kind of like an inside thing. I actually own everything you would need to make a movie.
Oh, snap.
I have a dolly cam. I have a elevate. What do they call that? I have a dolly cam. I have a elevated camera lift. I have monitors. I have the cameras. I have everything. The only thing I don't have is I don't have people that can quit their jobs and just work with me for 6 months. My son is an incredible movie editor, video editor. I would put my son up against anybody, even a professional video editor. And he's working plus going to college every day. Mm. So my life is just too busy to do. The reason I do YouTube is I can't do anything else. That's the honest to God's truth. I'm not bragging or being a smart ass. If my son said, hey, Dad, I'm going to take 6 months off and work with you and we're going to make a couple movies, you would have exactly what you want. I'm serious. My son's that good.
So one of the things that I would like to know, because you do a lot of role-play-based stuff, how do you pick the triggers that you're going to use for role-plays and incorporate them into each role-play? Like, is it specific, or do you think of a trigger first and then try to build the role-play around it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, a little bit is planned. But believe it or not, it's basically the size of a normal bedroom, say 10 by 10.
Yeah.
But I have a studio, an actual studio. So I have, like, 2 of the 4 walls are full of props. And I'll think up a video idea, or somebody will tell me they want me to do something. And I'll sit there and think, well, I could do this, this, and that. And I'll think, well, gee whiz, did I do that last video, or did I do that a couple videos ago? That's about as much thinking as I put into it. I sit down, swear to God, I sit down, grab a couple things off the shelf, turn the camera on, and I just go with it. And that's about as much planning as I put into it. 90% of my videos are almost 100% improvisational. Like 90% of the work I do is very improvisational. Just grab some stuff off the wall, sit down, throw it on the desk, and go with it.
Where does that love of improv come from? Where does that love to create come from?
I used to... Okay, well, see, you're younger. I think you're 29, right?
Yeah, I'm 29.
There's a huge difference between... I'm 49, so there's 20 years between us. And you think, it's not that big a deal. That's like 100 years between you and me.
Yeah.
And, culturally. But I'm going to tell you why. When I played role-play games, we played on pencil and paper.
Yeah. Around
the dinner table and drank soda, and we ordered a pizza, and we played Dungeons and Dragons, we played Call of Cthulhu, we played Marvel superheroes, and we did it on a piece of paper that we went down to Kinko's Copies and made photocopies of these character sheets. And, the role play, the dungeons, the cityscapes, whatever we were going to use, and we would throw them in the middle of the table, and we'd play these little games, almost like a chessboard, like chess pieces, chessboard. You, being 20 years younger, when you play a role-play game, and this is not an insult, you guys have this world before you. You can play, World War II adventures, Alien adventures,
Yeah.
What's the Final Fantasy, We didn't have that. So if we wanted to play that, we tailored these games around the table, and we sewed these oral histories. We told stories.
Yeah.
And I just in case you didn't know it, I was a dungeon master, like an advanced Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master.
Oh, man.
I ran games. Yeah, I ran games for Marvel superheroes. I never ran a game for Call of Cthulhu, which was like a horror version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
Oh, but I used to play role play games back in the early '80s and '90s.
Yeah.
For probably 10 years, and it was like I didn't realize I was actually training myself to be a role player, a improvisational storyteller, an oral historian, and I do take that seriously. There's a lot of stuff I take frivolously in life, but the idea of being an oral historian, I think the tribalism of that, sitting around a campfire, and this is very important to me, sitting around a campfire and telling an oral history, about the Bible or some anthology of some legend that, Greek gods passed down to us. That's very important to me. So,
what was your favorite video to make? And also, when you made the Pokemon Go video, did it absolutely make Amy go like, "Oh my god"?
The first Pokemon, she's in the second one. We're actually texting each other. I did 2 Pokemon Go videos. And in the second one, I'm actually texting her physically on my cell phone. And she's like, "Are you picking on me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not picking on you. I'm playing I'm weaving you in the story." And she was like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're in the story, I'll tell you a secret. I mailed that Pokemon ball that's in that video to Amy. She's never used it in a video. So
She should absolutely use it in a video.
Yeah.
Amy, if you're listening right now, we need you to use that Pokeball in a video.
that young lady's like a daughter to me, I'll be clear. And I mailed her a lot of props, and she's used them in videos, and I won't tell which ones, but I've been very gracious to her. She's been very gracious to me. She's a wonderful friend.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. What was your favorite video to make?
It's funny. I think Oracle ASMR asked me that on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think a lot of her. Yeah, I really think
Oracle is amazing.
Yeah. And
I was so surprised when she came on the show. I'm like, how did you even know I existed?
She is a sweetheart. Comes out of nowhere and treats me like she's known me my whole life. Very nice lady. And I'm on Twitter and I see she asked you a question. Ask TirarADeguello what's his favorite video. And I'm like a dumbass. I didn't even notice that, and I answered her directly. But the 2 favorite videos I think I've ever done are the 9th Configuration and Temujin. Temujin deals with Genghis Khan as a child being sick, and I have to save him from dying. I'm brought back in time to save him, and knowing that if I save him, thousands and thousands of people are going to die. But if I don't save him, the Mongol Empire won't take over Asia.
Oh my God.
So, I'll screw up history. So I have to save this kid who's basically going to kill thousands of people.
Oh, man.
Or something worse will happen. And then the 9th Configuration is probably my all-time favorite movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was based on a book called Killer Kane by William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist.
I love
that. The guy who wrote The Exorcist actually became a movie director because he wanted to have more control over his artwork. And he did the direct sequel to The Exorcist is not The Exorcist 2, as most people think. It's actually the 9th Configuration, which is a movie about a astronaut who, in the first Exorcist movie, the little girl tells the astronaut, "You're going to go up there, you're going to die. You're going to die in space." And when he goes on the launch pad, he has a psychotic break, and the 9th Configuration deals with that.
Oh, man. That is...
You never seen that movie?
No.
Movie, my God, I'll tell you what, today, you go on the internet, YouTube, it's on YouTube, the 9th Configuration. Stacy Keach is in it, several other good actors. You watch that movie and tell me that ain't one of the coolest effing movies you've ever seen in your life.
Man.
Killer Kane You got to see the movie, and you'll say, like, oh, my God, the bar fight scene in the Ninth Configuration is the most awesome movie fight scene you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it tops anything Rocky Balboa anybody's ever done.
So, you said before we started rolling that you when you grew up you were very much into comic books, and when I grew up I was also very much into comic books. So, what were some of the titles that you would read?
I was a huge Silver Age fan. I kind of was one of those people that was in between the Silver Age and the 1980s comics. Like, Alan Moore and Frank Miller were, of course, my gods. You know, they wrote The Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen.
Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke, yes. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I can quote The Killing Joke to you almost word for word, frame for frame.
I once did a recording of The Killing Joke, of the monologue that the Joker did.
Yeah. I mean, the joke he tells at the end, you know, with the flashlight. That's my life. That's me. That's me. I can't trust you. Well, you think I'm crazy? You're going to turn the light off when I get halfway across. And people don't get that. They don't get that mentality that the Joker and Batman were so close together. You know, that's The Killing Joke. And Frank Miller and The Dark Knight. I mean, The Dark Knight, literally, that's me. Yeah. If you read The Dark Knight Returns, I grew up with that. You know, life doesn't make sense unless you force it to. You force life to make sense to you. That's Frank Miller.
Yeah.
And everything he's written. And Alan Moore, I mean, my God, Alan Moore was a god to me. But I was old enough that I still remember Jack Kirby, the original comic book creator, the guy who created Captain America, Fantastic Four, X-Men.
Yeah, Jack Kirby.
And Jack Kirby, the Hunger Dogs, the Fourth World with Orion and Apocalypse, and Darkseid the Destroyer. And Jack Kirby was, and still is, my idol. I had a huge Jack Kirby collection, and when I first got married, I had to sell my comic book collection. And I had all the Commandees, which you probably don't even know who Commandee is. I had all the Fourth World stuff, and this stuff was worth a fortune. But, you know, you get married, you have kids, and you need the money. And I love Jack Kirby. When he died, that was like something left out of me. I know that sounds silly. I never felt that way about Alan Moore, Frank Miller, some of the other ones, but when Jack Kirby died, something just kind of left the world.
I think the same thing will happen, God forbid, when Stan Lee passes, because it's Stan Lee.
See, I respect Stan Lee and I love Stan Lee. I love Stan Lee because he's a direct connection to my friend Jack Kirby. My friend Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
You know, Jack Kirby's got two nickels to rub together. He's got a young daughter that just was born. Stan Lee's got a young daughter that's just been born. They're on their asses. They've got families. They got no money. And Jack Kirby walks in the office and Atlas Comics is ready to close. And Stan Lee brokers a deal with DC Comics, his competition, to release 8 titles a month. I think it was 6 or 8 titles a month. I bet you didn't know this. Nobody knows this.
No.
DC Comics, you know, Batman, Superman, all that, distributed Marvel Comics in the early 60s. Seriously, I'm not making this up.
That's hilarious.
And they only had 8 titles they would distribute. You know, they let them carry on, like, they let them distribute their comics along with theirs.
Yeah.
You know. So basically this bundle of comic books had some Marvel Comics attached to it. And this guy, Jack Kirby, and this guy, Stan Lee, attached their comic books to, you know, Superman, Batman, you know, Wonder Woman comics, and take over the industry. Literally destroy DC Comics.
Do you think Jack gets the recognition that he deserves? A lot in the same way
circles.
A lot in the same way that, you know, maybe Bill Finger doesn't get the recognition that he deserves for.
In certain circles, he does.
Yeah.
In certain circles, he does. People who are my age or older know who Jack Kirby is.
Yeah.
But we also go to the Marvel movies and see Stan Lee and say, oh, God bless America, because that guy's a direct connection to my friend Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
I don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think Stan Lee's blowing a lot of smoke up people's asses saying he created all this shit on his own. Pardon my French. Jack Kirby created this stuff. Jack Kirby was creating comic books back in the 1940s.
Yeah.
When Stan Lee was a copy boy. His career was short-tailed by the World War II, which, oh my God, it only ruined the whole world. And then he came back and, tried to get into comics. And, he created the superhero genre with Captain America. He created the romance novels. Most people don't know this, but in the late 40s, early 50s, there was this huge comic book market for romantic comic books. Stan Lee didn't have nothing to do with that. It was all Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby created this genre all by himself. When it dried up, he got into this monster UFO genre. The giant monsters, took over. Urg that destroys the Earth, and it came from beyond. That was created by Jack Kirby. Then in the 1960s, Jack Kirby actually worked for DC Comics in the 1950s. Challengers of the Unknown and some other comics, and literally was putting DC Comics superheroes back on the map. And then they had a dispute, whatever. He went to Marvel Comics because they were the competition. It was Atlas at the time. And Stan Lee's standing there with an empty office. And he says, give me a few months. We'll turn it around. And he semi-created Spider-Man. I don't know if you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Ditko basically created Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, but Jack Kirby kind of like semi-created those characters. That's where it gets ugly. Well, who created what? These guys were just working class stiffs trying to make $1.
Yeah.
They were just trying to put some money on the table. So you can't fault Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Wally Wood, all these, classic artists for what actually went down.
Yeah.
Because there's so much muddling of who created what. Nobody had their finger on it.
I love watching those documentaries.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of them on YouTube about how this was created and just, oh, man. Because I love history. So, and I love comics. So anytime I can see, like, the history of, like, comics, it's like, what?
Yeah, you literally, from 2000 back, you can ask me anything. I probably know it. I was a huge comic book fan.
I'm a fan of what's out now too. Like, I don't know if you.
Oh, it's fine.
If you've read lately, but like the Spider-Gwen series and Silk, The Adventures of Silk and Spider-Man. I love those titles are so cool.
I really think they're not doing Spider-Man. I love all the Spider-Man movies, and they get pissy about how the Spider-Man movie made $800 million, and they're saying it's a failure.
Yeah,
I can't understand that. I love the ones with Emma Stone and that kid in it. Who's the guy that plays
Andrew Garfield?
Andrew Garfield. They were incredible.
I liked it. I liked the fact that
those movies made $780 million box office.
I liked the fact that they had Gwen Stacy. Well, here was the problem with it that a lot of people had.
They killed Gwen Stacy like the comics.
Yeah, which made me happy. But and I think it made a lot of like comic book fans happy. But the problem is you've got a lot of spoiled movie goers these days. They don't want spoilers, but they do want spoilers. And if the trailer shows like this much, then everyone's like, well, that's it, movie's ruined.
Don't even get me started on the hipsters. They ruin everything. I mean, come on. They were telling... You know what the most successful superhero movies are the ones that go back to the original material, Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers. They're telling you Avengers stories from the 1970s, not modern Avengers stories. They're telling you stories that happened 30, 40 years ago.
Ragnarok.
That were written... Ragnarok, yeah. They're not telling you modern stories. The one I'm waiting for is let's get Thor Ragnarok out of the way with Planet Hulk and all that horse shit. I want to see Beta Ray Bill.
Yes! Oh my god, that would be great!
I would kiss the feet of the director who puts Beta Ray Bill up on screen. The idea of the aliens and then Sutor and all that and the demons and Beta Ray Bill could pick up the hammer and he's equal to Thor and
they might be able to do
Thor's
that.
girlfriend that falls in love with Beta Ray Bill. What's her name? Sif.
Yeah.
Sif falls in love with her, and I mean, come on. There's a story that defies Hollywood.
That would be so great. And they could do it now because I've seen...
anything.
I've seen in the trailer for Ragnarok where the hammer gets destroyed. So
I think that's an illusion. I've thought about that too. That's an illusion. Because Hell's a goddess of illusion and hell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just ignore me. But
what if they do that to bring him in though, and then he comes in with his hammer and he's like, "Here, Thor," and then that's his cameo. I know it's so bad and it's so cheesy, but it would make me so happy.
You know what? You might have something there.
But yeah, we have some fan questions and we've been shooting for a very long time. But we better get to these fan questions. But we got into comic book land and I was like, let's go to comic book land because
you can do whatever you want with the interview. You can divide it up.
Yeah. So our first question, are you ready for these, by the way?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Our first question comes from Robert, and he would like to know, how did you become such a stabilizing force for nurturing new and upcoming ASMR artists in the ASMR community?
Well, I think I can give an easy answer. That actually comes to me pretty fast. I've been on YouTube a long time, and I recreated myself, my persona, several times. I had channels that were not ASMR, but they were based on, UFO and ghost gag videos, spoof videos.
Yeah.
And then I got into ASMR, and immediately after I got into ASMR, the big artists, and I'm going to say all of their names, Ephemeral Rift, Heather Feather, Audra Neela, Accidentally Graceful, Cassie from, what's Cassie from? Cassie's from Gentle Whispers? Not Gentle Whispers, what's her channel name? Calming Escapes.
Yeah.
These people are like legends. These people were like legends to me. They accepted me as a fellow artist and brought me in and showed me grace and showed me, that I was just, maybe not as good as them, but they gave me a chance to shine.
Yeah.
And whether we have differences or not, the ASMR community, seriously, the ASMR community can be very accepting. Who am I to turn around and tell some new kid coming along that he doesn't deserve a leg up? Now, I'm not friends with everybody that's new. I'm not even subscribed to. I'm being honest. I'm not even subscribed to Raffy Taffy and who's that guy we were talking about, Matty Tingles.
Yeah.
Because they just don't appeal to me. Their art doesn't appeal to me. But there are other artists like Articulate Design, Nicholas, Dr. Tingles ASMR, Sensory D ASMR, ASMR Power of Sounds. Do you know him?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's incredible. They appeal to me. So I've helped them. I've commented on their videos. I've collaborated with them. I've tried to help them. I've tried to talk to them. I've tried to give them advice. It's not that I don't like Raffy or anybody else. Maybe they just don't appeal to me. Like Fred's voice, I don't know Fred's voice because he just doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't mean I don't like Fred's voice. I think Fred's voice is incredible.
He appeals to a lot of people, though.
He's incredibly sick. Well, it's probably a good thing he doesn't appeal to a middle-aged white man like me. I like Fred's voice so much. It doesn't appeal to me. You know?
I was talking to Katie, who's one of our producers, right? And
Sure.
she was like,
and I hope he appeals to her.
He absolutely does. She was
thing.
like, get him on. Get the Thor guy on.
Well, you know what? In my best Catholicism possible, God bless him. You know, from the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. God bless him. I hope he appeals to all. You know, you have no idea how many 20, 30, teenage even girls have wrote to me and said, oh, Fred's voice, I just got to tell you about Fred's voice. It's like, I'm glad he appeals to you. I'm glad. Because he should appeal to you. But I'm hoping nobody holds it against me that Fred's voice doesn't appeal to me. You know, I'm hoping nobody holds it against me that I'm not fawning fondly over Fred's voice going, oh my God, Fred's voice put a new video out today. Yeah. It's not my, you know, he's great. They're all great. There's a lot of wonderful male artists. Males are funny. Let's just be honest. Male artists are funny.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of, say, Dr. Tingles. He and I are very close. We've collaborated together. In fact, I think I'm the only artist that's ever collaborated with Dr. Tingles ASMR. He's got 90-something thousand subscribers. I'm proud to be working with him. I'm proud to be talking with him. Do we talk every day? Hi, Dr. Tingles. How's it going, good buddy? No, we don't talk every day. Men don't talk every day. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Men are a little like, oh, God, it'd be a little weird if we talk every day. Like, hi, how's it going? Did you see what Sensory AD said today? It would start to be a little weird. So we talk occasionally. We're good friends. He knows where he stands with me. I know where I stand with him.
Yeah.
Men ASM artists have so many. The disadvantages male ASM artists have are not what everybody thinks they are. The disadvantage they have is they don't want to be too emotional or too open with each other, or they appear not macho.
Yeah.
So, there you go. So
well,
I gave you there you go.
Well, there you go, guys. So somebody who is very awesome and has been on the show and is a very dear friend of yours and becoming a very dear friend of mine, Blue Whisper, has a question.
Oh, certainly.
She would like to know, where does your inspiration come from? There's something inside me. Call it the acting bug. Call it, I don't know. I'm the most driven person I know when it comes to ASMR or video making or just working. I'm the most driven person I know. Just the need
when it comes to work. I get up, I work. It's not a joke. I get up, I go to work around the house. I work on videos. I work on my channel. I work on stuff. And then I go to work 8 hours and I come home and I work some more. I don't know what it is about me. There's a drivenness to me. When I die, I die. Maybe that's not a great life, but I can take vacations once in a while. But I met some guys that worked in local television, and they worked like 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And I thought, my God, that's the only man I know that works more than me. And maybe that somehow got inside my head that, to be driven, to be that driven.
We have a few more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up and do all of that. But
starting to get started.
Daniel, who is a great friend of the show, he makes a lot of like screen caps and GIFs from videos, and he's very well loved around the community. He writes, how do you get your ideas?
Well, I'm very well read. As you and I have talked, I've read almost everything from 1940 comics on. I seriously have. I've read all the Joe Simon, Jack Kirby collaborations I could get my hands on, from Captain America to the what was his name? The Guardian, the Newsboy Kids, to all the way up to the Human Fly. You know, everything that Joe Simon and Jack Kirby read.
Yeah.
I've read I've read extensively everything Alan Moore, Frank Miller. A lot of people have read. I've read all the classics. You know, your George Orwell and Ray Bradbury is absolutely one of my favorite authors. Kurt Vonnegut's one of my favorite authors. I've read almost everything they've done. If somebody wants ideas, go to Wikipedia, read about Bigfoot, read about Loch Ness Monster, read about ghosts, read about demons, read about religion, read about world events, read about historical events. I have a job that allows me to read a lot, and I read Wikipedia constantly, article after article after article of, you know, different historical figures and different historical events. And
that's a great point for a lot of up and coming artists. Read Wikipedia to get some ideas. Like, guys, you this is a gold mine right here. The Articulate Design. Matt would like to.
Oh, I never heard of him. Who is he?
Articulate Design. He's a good guy. Yeah.
No, he's actually one of the few. There's this huge glut of new artists that have come onto the market, and you know, like Raffi, and they came after me. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean they're less than an artist than me. But there's like Raffi and who's that other guy? Matty Tingles and a whole bunch of other guys. Dr. Tingles, ASMR, Sensory. I think Sensory DI and Phoenician Sailor are actually peers of mine that came around the same time. But Articulate Design is one of those guys that came after me that I actually have respect for, that I consider like a peer.
Yeah.
Even though he came after me, I consider him an equal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
He absolutely deserves it.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even though he came after me, I consider him equal to me or better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. I know exactly where you're coming from. He works insanely hard. His question is, do you realize just how important you are to our community? You help so many and support so many channels. A huge thank you from my heart, he writes. I've
done some collaborations with groups, and I say anybody can join. Maybe that's what he means. I've tried to help young artists, and I do comment on a lot of people's work. I do try to, if people comment on my work or I see something I like, even though they've got 100 subscribers, 200 subscribers, I'll comment back. I'm not above that. I really don't believe that. I've been on YouTube a long time. I've been on YouTube since at least 2006. My wife still has an account from 2006. I'm not arrogant, and I'm too much above commenting on somebody's video if I like it. So he's correct in that statement. I think I could do more. I think I could do more to help people that are trying to come along. And that's just because, it's not selfless or I think I'm such a great guy. You know, we could help each other.
So yeah, Tirar, thank you so much for for coming on the show and for having me today, man. It really means a great deal to me that you would even, come on the show, because you make such great stuff, and for you to even notice like a small channel like the Dirty Nerdy Show, it really does mean a lot to me. And you are such a genuine person, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I hope that we can have you back on the show sometime, because you, sir, are a treat. Thank you so much.
No, there's no problem. I don't see you as any different than anybody else. Believe it or not. You're just another guy.
Yeah. Thank you. Guys, if you liked this video And, you know, if you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And if you've done both of those things and you're like, oh my God, what do I do now? You should see a little Patreon button coming up right about now. And if you want to support the show, go ahead. And just for $1 a month, you can get early access to all of our interviews right there. Patreon access. We also have some extended versions of interviews on Patreon too. So go ahead and yeah, look at our Patreon, look at our tiers and all that other stuff. But remember, just for $1, you can get early access to our interviews. But yeah, I'm ChristopherNotWalken. That was Tirar, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.